Good morning, brothers and sisters. Well, a lot has happened to set the stage for the tribulation to begin, and 2022 was a year full of prophetic significance. This is a prophecy review of 2022. First, in 2022, they held a World Government Summit in the spring where Pippa Milgrom has talked about blockchain and digital currencies. She said, quote, "We are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we are about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new accounting is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having an almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. This is another major step forward to that future Mark of the Beast system talked about in Revelation 13. America's new digital dollar is almost here, as the Federal Reserve gears up to unleash its Fed Now program at some point between now and next July. Brandon House spoke with Rebecca Walzer about the shift, which is right now being piloted in anticipation of a soon full release. Second, the COP27 summit met in Egypt. Alex Newman reported on the ongoing globalist push to harness the moral authority of religious leaders to promote the UN agenda under the guise of climate justice and climate reparations, and of saving the planet from man-made climate change. This proved to be a significant step to furthering world religion and world government united under a common agenda known as climate change. Third, a lot of progress has been made in preparation for the third temple, the Tribulation Temple, in which Jews will once again offer sacrifices. 5 perfectly red heifers, required for the ritual purification of those who have touched a dead body, arrived in Israel from a ranch in Texas as the Jewish Temple Institute continues preparations to lay the ground for the construction of the third temple in Jerusalem. The Jewish Temple Institute has been working for years on creating all the necessary elements to rebuild the Jewish temple. Also, Israel is upgrading its already impressive international airport. The government is working on a railway infrastructure that will bring in international travelers directly from the airport to the Temple Mount. This will enable all 70 nations to come to worship God in Jerusalem's house of prayer, a vision that the government has already hinted is their true intention. Fourth, Israel's government has had quite a dramatic change. Daniel 2:21 says, "And he changes the times and the seasons, he removes kings and raises up kings." In 2021, in June, Netanyahu lost his position as prime minister after 12 years in the role, being replaced by Naftali Bennett, who held on to power with a very slight majority in the Knesset. But in November, Benjamin Netanyahu has once again become Prime Minister of Israel in the country's 5th election in less than 4 years. This is a significant prophetic shift in Israel, and Netanyahu is more aggressive in defending Israel and would help to further strengthen the Abraham Accords, leading to the confirmation of the Daniel 9:27 treaty. Fifth, regarding the days of Lot, we have seen an unprecedented wave of the promotion of drag queens, churches promoting this lifestyle, and a recent signing of the Respect for Marriage Act, enshrining federal recognition of same-sex marriages into federal law for the first time. Jesus said that these days would be defined as the days of Noah and Lot. Sixth is the Russia-Ukraine war. This has proven to shift resources and attention to that part of the world and further increase wars and rumors of wars. As a result of this war, Russia has demanded the attention of most of the world, and alliances have been made with Turkey, Iran, and China. The war has caused an energy crisis in Europe and the Nord Stream pipeline explosion. It has also created an open door for Israel to provide Europe with natural gas upon their recent discovery of oil reserves. Talk about perfect timing. All this is prophetically significant because in Ezekiel 38 and 39, Gog-Magog is a war that will come against Israel for her natural resources. We have seen the stage being set further for the fulfillment of this in the tribulation. Seventh, the Revelation 6 sealed judgments talks about severe food shortages and famine. In 2022, there has been a supply chain crisis, sabotage on major food factories, destruction of livestock and chickens, and a decrease in fertilizer needed to grow crops. The Dutch farmer protests started in the Netherlands in October 1st, 2019, in response to new carbon emissions reduction legislation that impacted farmers. Then, on June 10th of this year, the Dutch government unveiled more extreme measures targeted directly at the agricultural industry. Farms next to nature reserves must cut nitrogen output by 70%, The Economist reported. About 30% of the country's cows and pigs will have to go, along with a big share of cattle and dairy farms. In response to this new legislation, about 40,000 Dutch farmers protested outside government buildings and the homes of ministers and drove hundreds of tractors to blockade food distribution centers, including warehouses and grocery stores. Throughout July, the movement spread to Germany, Italy, Spain, Poland, and other nations, each with farmers taking to the streets in repudiation of their government's measures to reduce the scale and output of the agricultural industry. Eighth, in 2022, we've seen the most warnings of economic disaster and a potential collapse that we have ever seen. Just do a search on YouTube and you will find tons of financial experts warning of financial collapse and the death of the dollar. Many Americans are struggling to pay their bills and maxing out their credit cards just to make it. All over the world, economies are on the brink of crisis, and the push for a global economic system is on the rise. 9 is the China-Taiwan conflict. Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan created quite the stir and demonstration of China's threats. This further fulfills Jesus' prediction of wars and rumors of wars. This provocation has sped up tensions with America, China, Taiwan, Japan, and North Korea. We know in the tribulation, peace will be taken from the earth, and all-out war will begin. 10. The rise of false messiahs. I reported that an Israeli rabbi says he's already holding meetings with a messiah. Many rabbis in Israel have created a following with supposed healings, knowledge of the Torah, and unique qualifications among the Orthodox Jewish communities. But we know Scripture says false Christs and messiahs will rise up in the last days. 2022 proved to be a pivotal year for this. 11. The rise of scoffers and mockers. 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 3 says, "Know this first of all, that in the last days mockers will come with their mocking, following after their own lusts." The most significant event, in my opinion, in 2022 was the article posted by CNN entitled, "For some Christians, rapture anxiety can take a lifetime to heal." This article was told by someone who had experienced trauma of the threats of being left behind and the years of counseling it took to move on from it. The article painted our blessed hope as something to be feared and rejected. 12. The destruction of the Georgia Guidestones. This created media craze over the monuments in Georgia that were symbolic of the New World Order. It brought attention to the worldview of the globalists that seemed to be advancing the very things stated on those guidestones, the depopulation agenda being one of them. 13. The advertising of smart cities such as Neom in the Middle East. The cities, I believe, will be the templates for the commercial Babylon spoken of in Revelation 18 that will be destroyed by the Lord himself in 1 hour. We see how fast they can build these cities, and it is exactly what we would find in an Antichrist-controlled world. Lastly, is the death of Queen Elizabeth. This is significant because now King Charles has risen to power. The same King Charles who stated at COP26 in 2021, quote, "We need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector, with trillions at his, quote-unquote, his disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect beyond even the governments of the world leaders. It offers the only real prospect of fundamental economic transition. King Charles will indeed take the charge, along with leaders such as Klaus Schwab and Emmanuel Macron, in building this beast system out of which the Antichrist will rise and rule the world." In conclusion, in this list, I probably didn't even scratch the surface of all that took place in 2022 prophetically, but I wanted to present a list of major headlines that speaks to the fact that the tribulation is closer than it has ever been before, which means the church is going home to the Father's house soon. Maranatha.